It's been Christmas and Spam hasn't done a lot of training, and I guess that might be a contributing factor to the fact that she has started to show interest in sheep. So I usually let my puppies meet sheep when they're young, just to see what they'll do, and it's really exciting as a breeder and an owner to see how they react to sheep. But since we've got sheep right outside the house, I've actually tried to keep her away from them, and she hasn't shown much interest until this week. So I decided that there's nothing to wait for, and we're going to try her on some sheep that we brought out to the field. I don't want her to do it around the house, but we'll try her on this field, and we got some fairly nice sheep. I've got her father as a helper dog, and hopefully everything will be calm and nice because we don't want to upset the sheep and we want her to have a good time.
Close your eyes for a minute, close your eyes for a second. I won't change my mind. What is getting deep now? What is getting deep now? Follow me around, yeah. Can you let me down? Please don't let me down.
A border collie wants to control sheep. They want things to be calm and controlled, and even when they're this small and haven't had any training on sheep, they're trying different things to achieve this. Spam likes to lie down and stay at a distance to make sure that she doesn't upset the sheep. Puppies will try different things in order to get control. Some will stay away like Spam does. Some will chase, but that's also a way of trying to regain control. A puppy this age is in no way ready for any formal training or learning commands. What we're trying to do is just let them use their genetic instinct and finding control in as many different ways as possible. We want them to be confident walking towards sheep as well as running around them in both directions. We also want to make sure that they think that we're helping them and that we control the sheep together with them. We don't want the puppy to think that we're trying to catch them or stop them from working. There are so many things that a border collie is born with. It always blows my mind to see how much they know at such an early age. This is her fetching sheep with her father, and all of this is just behavior that she was born with. We haven't done any training, and she instinctively knows how to work sheep. Although she was born with a lot of knowledge about sheep, there are so many things that she needs to learn in order to be a working sheepdog. In this early training, we're just trying to help her find those different tools and gain confidence and liking to work together with me. I will probably not have her on sheep for another month, and I will not start any formal training until she's about a year old. This is just trying to figure out what she likes and trying to give her some more tools in her toolbox to handle sheep. Spam really likes going to the left. It's very common for young border collies to have one side that they prefer over the other. In this session, I was trying to encourage her to also go to the right. This will help her gain confidence and control over the sheep. I tried to achieve this by moving my body to stop her and turn her the other way, which didn't always work. I also used the placement of the sheep, which sometimes works better. If the sheep turn their heads one way, the puppy is likely to want to go that way. She was getting better through this session, but she was still preferring her left side. When the dog is going to the left or right around the sheep, that is called a flank. A flank is a movement that the dog will do to get from one point to another without upsetting the sheep. So the point of the flank is to move the dog without moving the sheep, and then when we want the dog to move the sheep, we'll ask them to come forward towards the sheep. At this stage, Spam is more happy to go around than she is walking towards the sheep. Later on, she was finding more confidence to walk up towards the sheep, but right now she's just trying to hold them still in one place and she doesn't really want to go towards them to upset them. One of the early things that we want to teach our dogs is to balance the sheep to us. There's always a point of balance where the sheep will go straight, and one of the first things that we want to teach the puppy is to bring them straight to us. So if I'm at 12 o'clock, the dog will be at 6 o'clock, or sometimes more to the left or more to the right, depending on where the sheep want to go. So I want her to understand that moving left and right will balance the sheep to me, and we can control them together. She is starting to understand it here, but she's still very much working for herself, trying to find control of the sheep without really caring about my position. I was impressed by how easily she moved in the terrain and that she didn't get upset by sheep moving on rocks and around trees. As you can see, she's not really balancing them to me, but rather trying to stop them from going where they want to go. I need to be active and make sure that she understands that I'm also helping her control the sheep and that we're doing this together. Once she understands that we're a team trying to control the sheep, we can start working her out of balance as well, but that's something that will happen once she's grown and mature. So earlier I said that I wanted to train her on this field so that she didn't get experience of working sheep around the house, but we lost the sheep and I really wanted to do some more. So we actually went to the smaller field outside our house and did some more sheep work. She was more relaxed and moving more freely. Her circles are sometimes smaller and she doesn't stop as much, but I think that's just a good sign of her relaxing and feeling more confident around the sheep. There's no sound from these videos, but I'm actually not saying anything to her except for praising her sometimes when she makes a really good decision. I'm trying to use my body to block her when she's trying to go around me. I'm also using my body to slow down the sheep. I want her to know that we're doing this together and that I'm capable of taking care of my side of the sheep. She still doesn't really trust me, but I'm just trying to help her out, be patient, show her what I would like her to do, and if she doesn't do it, we'll just try again. She did some really nice things and started to slow down at the other side of the sheep, and she could also walk towards them a little bit, which was really nice. How I'm trying to use my body to help her stay on her side of the sheep. I'm not always successful, but she's getting better and better. I managed to stop her here, but then she really wanted to go on her left side flank, which is also where the sheep wanted to go. Where the sheep wants to go is probably the most important thing to her at this stage. She knows a lot about sheep, even though she hasn't seen them before. Watch how she goes out to the right, even though I'm at 12 o'clock, because she knows that the sheep are wanting to go to the right. As soon as I move away from there, the sheep are turning to the right, and she really wants to go out there and stop them. Once we start her real training next year, a lot of the training will be about growing her confidence so that she can feel in control of the sheep, even if I ask her to go
in a direction that she finds counterintuitive. The more confidence she grows with sheep, the easier it will be for her to be obedient. Sheepherding is 100% instinct and 100% obedience at the same time. You want the dog to always work the sheep and at the same time always listen to your commands. It's really hard, but since they have so many good things in their genes, it makes it a lot easier.
Close your eyes for a minute, close your eyes for a second. I won't change my mind. What does getting deep
We
now?
also had Spam's sister Skim visiting this weekend, so Thomas took her out to see what she would do with the sheep. Skim has a lot of talent, just like her sister, but she is not as sticky, so she will move more and she won't lie down as much. I think this is just a good trait. She looks confident, she likes to work sheep, she's very serious, and she tries really hard to understand what Thomas is showing her. She's easier to convince to go both ways than Spam is, and she stays on her feet to work the sheep. One really good indicator of what the dog is feeling is their tail. When a border collie is working sheep, their tail should be low and relaxed. If their tail is high, they might be just playing and not really hurting. Skim sometimes lifts her tail when she gets a bit too excited. She's probably a little bit scared and a little bit excited. When she's working nicely, her tail is low. Sometimes when starting a puppy, they'll start out with a really high tail, just running around and chasing sheep. And then suddenly you'll see a shift in their behavior where they just drop their tails and start working seriously. These puppies were serious from the get-go, so we didn't really see that shift. But in some puppies, it's really evident that suddenly they understand that they're sheepdogs and not just playing around sheep.
Me down. Can you let me down? Please don't let me down.
One really difficult thing for a young border collie is going between the fence and the sheep. It's scary because there's not a lot of space, so they have to go close to the sheep. But most of all, they're feeling like they're losing control when they're pushing the sheep out towards the middle of the field where they could get away. She's much more calm when she is on the inside of the field and keeping the sheep towards the fence where she is in control. When Thomas asks her to go between the fence and the sheep, she speeds up, but if she gets a little bit more distance like she did there, she's fine. It's so much fun working the puppies on sheep, but you don't want to overdo it and you want to be very careful to make sure that they're not scared by the sheep and that we're not overwhelming them or upsetting the sheep too much. Make sure that you're working on sheep that are used to dogs and that are used to dogs that are working them nicely so that they'll respect the dog and not run away or attack them. It's very, very important to be careful with the confidence of your puppy.